Yo, what is up, my Shadow Armies? It is I, Shadow Critias, back again with another anime commentary video. So yeah, today we're gonna talk about certain topics of this debate that people are wondering of: is manga better than the comics, or comics better than the manga? And basically the topic is why manga has beaten American comic books. And this video was made by Monte Sensei. If you guys want to watch the original video, the link of it will be down below in the description box. Go see the video for yourself. So, and I actually would agree that the manga actually beats the comic book here in America, because the manga is more straightforward. No so many different story of the same franchise with different takes, and not no multiverse sort of thing, how Marvel and DC does. Like, DC are now doing the what's it called? Absolute DC characters now, and Marvel Comics started to make no fucking sense anymore. It's like the comic books here in America, both Marvel and DC, are just get really fucking complicated and so confusing, and people can't even keep up with it. With manga in Japan, it's more straightforward and get straight to the point and finish off the series. No continuation, no rewrite, no retelling, no making a new story based on the same franchise as a whole. So we're basically gonna watch this and hear this guy on his take. So with that out of the way, let's just go ahead and dive right into it.
When I say mangas are beating American comic books, that really shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, nor does the reason why that is with current generations or previous ones as well. But in case you're wondering or need a reminder of how this is, here's a quick example of a panel where Deadshot is talking with Harley Quinn, with a quote of Deadshot saying, "See? You can shoot Joker in the face, but it's much harder to shoot issues like homophobia or systemic racism." I'm sorry, this sounds like I'm reading an infomercial. And this just fuels my point in my recent videos to stop politicizing entertainment, which even still people are missing the point that I'm making, but this is a good representation of what I mean. The comic book industry, in my opinion, has become highly infiltrated by activists, pushing true creators out, turning these sources of beloved properties into their own political campaigns and vehicles for social agendas. And if you, as a longtime fan, offer feedback that counters their narrative, they demonize you in the process, pushing you away, then wonder why no one buys their crap, garbage, trash. But for the
Yeah, that's basically what's going on in America. Like, if you have your own fucking feedback on certain comics that you don't like, they're just gonna keep making more and more and just push you away and tell you, okay, you don't like it, then we don't fucking need you, so we're just gonna push you away. That's basically what they're doing, because they don't give a fuck about the fans in America. So they actually do not care about the fans at all. Where Japan actually do care, they listen, they understand, and they're going to try to do their best to make things right and make it more sense as they possibly can. Not everything has to be perfect. But in America, DC and Marvel, they think, no, we're trying to make it perfect. We're doing it our way. We don't care about the fans. Like Disney, Marvel, Warner Brothers, Sony just don't care about what the fans want or need. They're just doing it for themselves or whatever. Same goes for Hollywood.
the longest, these journalists tried to keep the facade up. The comics were booming, but it's gotten to a point where even they can't deny anymore. Manga beating American comics, including Marvel, explained. One Piece beating Superman was no accident. Now, before I go any further, this is something I've known years ago, that manga was of course taking the spotlight away just off of intuition alone, even when they tried to report comics were selling more than ever given their stats and numbers. And I remember thinking, that doesn't seem right. Just from paying attention to the current market and interest shifting towards anime and manga and away from Marvel and DC, nobody's discussing or enthused with American comics. But what I learned is that they were including manga sales within the same category as comics, creating an inaccurate misrepresentation of the current market. And that's why I always have a healthy skepticism when it comes to activists and how they operate. Manga's growing popularity, why it's beating superheroes. In the 2010s, Marvel was totally slaying it with the MCU, delivering us blockbusters like Avengers Endgame, which raked in a staggering $2.8 billion globally. But the thing is, people are getting a little tired of superheroes.
Yeah, that is true. People are getting tired of this superhero comic book bullshit. I mean, if you want a good superhero show or manga, or they done right, the only two superhero animated that I know is One Punch Man and My Hero Academia, plus My Hero Academia Vigilante. That's like the only two things that is good, but One Punch Man gets really fucking complicated later on after season 1. Now the story gets really stupid. It's like, now you're questioning it. Yeah, One Punch Man started to become similar to Marvel, so it's not the same. But with My Hero Academia and My Hero Academia Vigilante, it's more straightforward. They don't pull anything like how One Punch Man does. They don't pull anything like how Marvel and DC does. They more straightforward, sticking to the lore, sticking to the story, and just go straight forward from there.
It's not true, but I'll get to that in a minute. Since Endgame, the superhero franchise has sort of dropped off at the box office, with movies like The Marvels and Captain America Brave New World not really doing well. Yes, because after Endgame, Marvel forced out the audience that was responsible for growing the cinematic universe and tried to force in a non-existent modern audience where genuine interest was absent. It really should go down in history, the lack of smart decision-making on their end of how to tank a successful franchise.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, Brave or the new Captain America movie, I think it was good. I think it was okay. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It was okay, but I felt like it should never been made because Falcon and the Winter Soldier was the fourth movie of Captain America, in my personal opinion, because it focused on Sam and Bucky to basically that, yeah, they have to learn to put their difference in because they don't get along until they're like, yeah, they're going to have to get used to, they had to get along whether they like it or not. Even though they both get each other's nerve, but they do respect each other, and you can feel that slowly bond between them two. It's basically both of them trying to honor the legacy of Steve, honestly. And I feel like that should have been the only conclusion to end a chapter for Captain America itself. And I should understand that he have his own opinions on certain things of he said something he's gonna bring up something that he disagree about the other thing that people are really getting tired of the superhero comic thing. So again, this video is basically completely new to me because it's been a while since I watched this one, so my memory is vaguely memorable. So yeah.
People are losing their enthusiasm for all the superhero stuff, which has opened the door for other genres such as anime and manga to take the spotlight. First, anime and manga are not a genre, but a medium, which already says a lot about this journalist.
Yeah, it's a medium, not a genre. I don't know why people get that so confusing.
Second, people aren't fatigued with superhero stories. They're fatigued with shit garbage movies. It's only so long you can stamp Marvel on trash and expect people to keep buying into it. In case you haven't noticed, Shonen is doing extremely well, which basically follows the hero's journey template. If anything, I would say Marvel and DC paved the way for a lot of inspiration in anime, sticking to core themes that grounds good storytelling that comics seem to be obsessed with uprooting out and getting rid of. Just off the top of my head, there's a reason reason why people compare All Might to Superman or Captain America and Knuckle Duster to Batman, archetypes that American comics damn near perfected but have sadly forgotten. One of the biggest advantages manga and anime have over superhero comics is how closely they're tied together. They just kind of flow into one another so seamlessly. But superhero comics, particularly ones that are adapted into movies, don't have such a great flow between the film and the original comics. Yes, Marvel movies may include some reference to the comics here and there, but they don't necessarily compel you to rush out and purchase the comic to see more of the story. This is probably the only good point this article makes. The cool thing about anime is...
Yeah. Like, whenever Marvel or Warner Brothers trying to make a movie, but they don't do live action adaptation based on the comic, they would take some things in the comics and put it into the film, but they will change a lot to make the story work. But with the manga and anime adaptation, they just keep it how it is, but they will change a bit here and there, like censor certain things, like they did in the Vigilante pop step, like, which is completely stupid. And there'll be some other animes will change something that was based in the manga. So there's that.
That if it leaves off on a cliffhanger, or if the story was so interesting you want more of it, there's always the manga to read for enthusiastic viewers, and it's always clear to where to pick up where the anime left off at. As the saying goes, the anime sells the manga and the manga sells the anime. But when it comes to American comics, good luck with trying to navigate the maze that it is. Everything is so incoherent and not cohesive, multiverses on top of multiverses, you don't even know where to begin. And on top of that, if you felt so compelled to go to the comics, there's so much of a mixed match of everything, swapping out characters to fulfill politically correct quotas. Even when it completely contradicts the story and mythology the story takes place in, activists who could care less about story with amazing characters, but more about representation. The type of minds who can't curate but only know how to piggyback off of the creative genius from the past, which is why we constantly get a new version of an already existing character that was made from over half a century ago. Something that has caused diehard fans to leave years ago, but it's something that I think even normies are getting tired of.
We call you normies.
With the Ironheart series lacking any enthusiasm around it, no surprise there, along with Daredevil having terrible ratings, there was no hype for watching recycled characters over and over again. Something Japan doesn't fixate on. If anything, they suffer from too much creativity and abundance of new ideas and characters, even with the success of Demon Slayer. They're not trying to prolong it for over 50 years, making 50 different versions of Tanjiro like they do with Spider-Man. Disabled Spider-Man.
Yeah. Like I said, they keep making different versions of the characters from the same franchise. Like different versions of Spider-Man, different versions of Batman, Iron Man, Captain America, Superman. Like, they keep making so many versions of the same character, same title of a hero, and with a bit of a different story. But it's just the same over and over and over. And that's why the Marvel, the Cinematic Universe, MCU, the movies, is basically completely different than the comics. So basically the films is its own different universe than the comic. So, yeah. But like I said, the manga and the anime are basically straightforward, and they know when it's done is done.
Gay Spider-Man, Aunt May Spider-Man, is this real?
I can't take no more of this, man.
That's where anime and manga succeeds and current comics fail. They can't create anything new. They have to continuously ride the coattails of the past, making a cheap knockoff of what already was. And to be honest, this goes for most of Western entertainment, period. So when this article says that audiences have left Marvel and DC for anime because they want something new, no. We just want something good. People don't want to be preached to and lectured to. People want stories that speaks to their soul, have characters they can connect with on a deep level, not surface level share the same skin tone, and that automatically makes a good legendary character, where representation is put to the forefront rather than human universal experiences that anyone across the world can feel. That's what anime does and comics have forgotten, leaving a void in the market that Japan has filled and audiences have naturally gravitated towards, which is why anime is all I watch now. And if I do watch something made in the West, it's most likely something old made when Hollywood had some sense dating decades ago and wasn't so activist infiltrated. But that's all I have for this video. Tell me what you think in the comment section below. To be honest, I don't see Marvel or DC learning from any of their mistakes and will continue to step on rakes destroying their brands. The only positive is for other creators to see the obvious mistakes they've made and learn from it, leading to exceptional entertainment on their end. And if you haven't already, check out my music on Spotify. Links in the...
Yeah, Marvel and DC are just gonna keep learning their they're just gonna keep making the same mistake and not learning that mistake and not learning to move aside what has already been done. Like, for example, the end game. After that, then what? You gotta make a new story that's not involve those characters. I mean, the epilogues like Spider-Man Far From Home, Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision, I think that's it. Those are the shows and movies that I just mentioned are basically the epilogues after Endgame. So it makes sense to have an epilogue, which is fine. After that, then what? Oh wait, y'all still focusing on those characters by not making anything new. Okay. And it's actually stated, I literally heard this, that the Avengers Secret War, the live action movie that working on right now, they're planning on to reboot the entire cinematic universe. So basically, after the Avengers Secret War will involve changing the entire history. So basically, the endgame meant nothing. It was never meant to be the end of the MCU. Marvel's Secret War is literally the end of the MCU to restart from the beginning. So yeah, that's basically what it is. So basically, they're not learning from their mistake. They're just going to keep making the same mistake and repeatedly. So yeah. That's basically what's going on right now. And they pretty much will never learn to move on and not making new stories, but instead they're going to keep using the same characters and not using other characters that Marvel and DC has. Because why? They don't give a fuck about the fans, and they like to push them away. And that's why anime and anime manga beats live action movies and shows of comic books adaptation and comic books in the America in general from Marvel and DC. So yeah. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Links to the original video will be down below in the description box. You guys know the drill. Links to my other channel, my social media will be down below in the description box as well. Links to my Cash App, PayPal, Ko-fi will be down below in the description box and in my bio if you guys want to donate to support the channel. Again, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. New before, shout out Critias, and I'll see you guys later.